Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to yet another edition of the Pure Digital Passion podcast with me, Moses Kemibaro. My guest today is Maurice Matheka, a very old friend of mine going back to the Mombasa days. And Maurice has a very interesting career, which is partly why I have him here today. Maurice is a certified sex therapist as well as a relationship therapist trained in the UK, somebody I've known for many, many years. And today he's going to go all into the inner workings of what makes relationships tick and why sex in particular is so important to these relationships. So thank you very much for joining us, Maurice.
Hey, thank you for inviting me, man.
So, Maurice,
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, and I know we've been planning to do this one for probably about 3 months.
I know, but
Yeah?
finally we're here.
Yeah,
And like you said, hey, we come from way back.
I know. So, Maurice, man, let's go back to early days, man. You know, like your origin story. You and I, we grew up in Coastal.
Yes.
And
Mombasa.
Mombasa, so to
When
speak.
it was a small island.
Small island. We, teenagers and growing up and learning things about life.
Yes.
But let's go back to origins. Let's talk a little bit about who's Maurice. Okay. What's your background? So people can sort of get a flavor. I mean, many people know already who you are, but maybe just get a flavor of who Maurice is going back to the sort of back in the day.
Who was I back in the day? Just one of those guys who just always loved life. Like you said, we lived in Mombasa. My dad worked at the port. Went to Coast Academy. Went to another school that I won't mention because I was expelled for
For real?
bad behavior.
Oh, wow.
Within the first year.
Wow.
Then I went back to Coast Academy. I can say that I had a privileged life. Had a lot of fun, had great friends from your Coastarians to people, from the world, basically. I loved clubbing. I was the naughty guy. I was that guy who could duplicate all the keys in the house and my dad's cars and stuff like that.
And nick the vehicle at night,
Nick the vehicle at night and pick up my friends and vice versa. So I lived that life and I enjoyed it. We were mad enough to be able to leave Mombasa at a certain hour, drive all the way to Nairobi to go to Carnival.
No way.
Club, and then drive back, making sure our parents have not woken up.
No, that's impossible.
It's not impossible.
You did it?
Yeah, we did it. More than once.
What?
For real. So
Wow.
I've done crazy.
Wow. Okay, that's on another level.
No, but you knew the crew I was with.
I know.
We used to do crazy stuff.
I mean, I've met your friends, but that's like, wow,
Yeah.
that's I didn't know it gone that far.
Do you remember when I crashed my dad's car in Malindi?
No, I
Yeah,
don't remember
I took
that.
some of my friends and
I had a car accident.
yeah, well, we were hit from behind.
Okay.
But the guys who hit us were very drunk. It was a Range Rover, and back then the cost was roughly just below $500,000 bob.
What?
Yeah, so I had to hide basically, and my dad was in the UK. So when he came back, I was
Drama.
in shit. So I've been through the thick. I've had a lot of fun.
Yes.
But I love my school days. I loved meeting people from Kenya around the world and stuff like that. Then eventually, actually going to the UK was more punishment because of the behaviors that I had. in
Oh,
Kenya.
really?
So my dad said, you know what, I'm shipping you off to the UK where you're either going to be a drug dealer, criminal, then you'll be killed, or you're going to learn how to fend for yourself. So luckily, I learned how to fend for myself.
So let me remember straight. I think you went to, was it Manchester?
Yes, I did. I went
Yeah,
to
and you went there to do a
But I
degree.
lived in London for
You
a
lived in
bit.
London for a period.
Yeah, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. Then
Okay.
I went to Manchester, did my first degree in IT and management.
Okay.
The minute I finished that, I realized that I didn't want to do that. So I gave my late dad the certificate and told him, Dad, you know what? Cheers,
As requested,
everything.
here's your certificate.
Here it is and stuff like that. He was a marine engineer. I don't think I'd ever qualified to be one. So IT was the closest I came to engineering. But then I realized I didn't like programming.
Okay.
It was not my thing as a career.
Yes.
Then he said, okay, you stick it out. I had already gone to a job center, so I was registered to be able to work. I did a lot of communal work and stuff like that, and that's why today I can't look down at people who are very handy with the.
So you had to do the grind,
I
eh?
did those jobs,
Yes.
so I understand them pretty well.
Yes.
Unfortunately, a lot of people won't go through that. And one thing I learned is when you earn your first coin, your first
Through your own work, yeah.
and for me, it was my first pound. I was like, whoa. Then you buy your first sofa sets, you buy your first TV, then you start to see the quality or the value of money. So when somebody comes up with a project that you know you cannot afford, you start living within your means. So remember when you said I could either be a criminal or sort myself out? That's how I started sorting myself out. So for years, I fended for myself. I learned how to cook, though learning how to cook was more like my mom threw us in the kitchen when I was 10.
Yes.
And she said, you know, overboil chicken if you need to, make a mess until you learn. One of the reasons is by then it was just me and my brother. My sister was not around.
Yes.
And she said the reason why she threw us in the kitchen is because she did not want to bring up men who are reliant on women. So she was beyond her years. We're talking about the 80s.
Trying to be self-sustaining.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've always been.
So
And here
let's
we are.
let's get into the UK. You're working. You've done your degree thing.
Yeah.
You're living the life, so to speak. You're
Yes.
fending for yourself.
Yeah.
What happens next? Because I think there was a moment there that something happened that led
What
to this
happened next
area.
is I told myself, do I go home? Or do I look for something else that I might be interested in?
Yes.
I did not know the study of human sexuality actually existed.
Uh-huh.
So I found a pamphlet, like a brochure that said that if you want to understand and break down the primitive side of humans, then you can study to be a sex therapist. Then
So
I
you
was
literally
like,
saw a brochure and you're like, huh, this is
yeah, and I was
interesting.
like, this is very interesting.
Uh-huh.
But in my head, I was thinking, being a sex therapist, what does that class looks like? So I just thought it would just be a bunch of naked people every single day, probably touch each other, once in a while.
Yeah.
Then I realized, oh my God, nobody told me that there's going to be a lot of reading.
So literally this was work. This was not
Yeah, so I read for 2 years.
2 years?
More about gender psychology, how humans work, how the different relationship settings that are
So
out
hang on a
there.
second. This is not just pure sex. This is literally going into the psychology of this thing.
Okay, it's very hard to advise people on sexuality if you don't understand their rooting, their foundation, how they think.
The psychology of the
Because
people.
part of their sexuality is how they think, their perceptions about it. Hence why there's people who will always be liberal and people who are more conservative. Their sex outcomes will always be different.
I see.
So you need to understand. Sometimes when somebody comes with a sexual problem, you actually find out that as you profile them, sex is not their problem. It's their psychology.
That's where it starts from. That's a root cause, so to
Yes,
speak.
that's the biggest cause. So you need to solve that first before you go into the sexual elements.
Wow.
So I registered, and there was nothing sexual about it until almost 2 years into it. That's when you start going into profiling people, and still that's a bit boring because there's nothing sexual about it. Then at some point, it's revealed that now you're going to learn about anatomy. You're going to learn about the male anatomy, the female anatomy, how it works.
Break this down for me. How is this done exactly? Do you go into a room and you see things, or
No, you go into a room and there's a subject. Like the way you go to a paint room where they're painting somebody.
Yeah.
Who is
An
naked and
artist?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have people who are subjects, and you're using their bodies. You're not using a dummy.
And they're showing you stuff or doing stuff.
Well, you're being shown using them.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying?
It's almost like a doctor would in an anatomy type of a thing, right? When they're training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of doctors I know were not trained that way, I think. So I was a bit favored in that sense.
Okay.
And that's how you get to know the physical attributes of a man and a woman and how they work and the neurochemicals that trigger them. And that's how you're able to separate that sexuality, it's in its own department.
All right.
Yes, it's not intertwined with love as people do. There's a
Oh,
romanticized
this is literally
version.
the chemicals, the
Exactly.
physical. It's not down to the.
I could easily tell a woman I love you, but my entire sexual body says I'm not attracted to you that way, but I love you.
And people struggle to differentiate that. Yeah.
Yes, that's because love is the one that conquers everything. Love is the seed that grows everything, which is flawed. It's delusional.
Some might say that is blasphemy.
Let them say, but I'm just giving it as it is.
So let me get this straight. So you move from sort of the psychology piece into the sort of the physical side of sex.
Correct.
And then what happens next?
What happens next is you now start practicing, but you're being guided by your mentors.
Okay.
And then at some point, you graduate, and you're told, voila. But now the funny thing is this: I prefer practicing in Kenya than I did in the UK.
Oh,
Reason being, Kenyans are far more liberal sexually than the English.
really?
Fact.
Fact, from what you've
We
seen.
think Caucasians are the ones who brought about all the naughtiness that we know. That's flawed. A lot of material that I read stated that some of the things like a woman's ability to ejaculate was actually traced back to the fact that African tribes, at some point when a woman ejaculated, they called it peeing because they didn't have the word squirting. So they used to say an African woman would pee on her man as a show of excitement. They were just referring to squirting. This is something they had never seen. So
Wow.
where did it begin? With us.
Okay, so you're saying inherently we knew this stuff a long
We
time
knew
ago.
all this stuff. It's just when we now absorbed their teachings and
The cultures
their
and
cultures
norms.
and stuff like that, we eroded all the sexual camps that we used to have. It's as simple as that. There's nothing new that I'm teaching people. I'm just bringing it back to Africa, where it belongs.
So I just want to trace back a little bit. So you're in the UK,
Yes.
you finish this program, you start
Yes.
practicing.
Yes.
And then I guess at some point there you figure it's time to come back home.
Yes, I figured, but I was very reluctant.
Uh-huh.
One, because right now I can say that I did my research in terms of things would work very well. It was not easy to transition from there to here because I literally moved. Like I had a mortgage, so I had to sell the house. I sold the cars. Like I packed everything in a container.
You came back home.
Yes. And I had a partner at the time, and we came back together, and she was from the UK. And wow, Kenya was tough.
Just that transition to
It
being
was
here.
it was tough. It was really tough.
And at this point, are you like full-timing the therapy thing or
No. I didn't practice therapy for another 2-3 years
okay.
after landing. Why? Because nobody knew what it is that I did. So what I did is I started giving free sessions to groups of women. Free.
Uh-huh.
Free. So you tell a friend, you tell a cousin, get your girls together, I'll give you a session for free.
And this would be probably pre-marital women, maybe weddings, things. Well, how would you do this?
Well, I'd either be invited to bridal showers or
Yeah.
just a group of ladies.
They just wanna know
would
more.
come together. Some are single, some are married, some are divorced. They just want to hear, what does this man have to say? And from that is when people were like, okay, he seems to understand this subject well. We'll refer him to other people. That took about 2-3 years. Actually, the advantage was this. I used to listen to Nini Washera. She's the only person, the only human that was talking about sexuality. And it was on radio. And that's when she was at Capital. So I used to stay up to listen to her show because it was in the threshold where she could speak about that. Can't remember. I think it was like 10 p.m. and stuff like that. And I told my friends, I listened to this. I never used to listen to radio. Even in the UK, not as much, but I paid attention to Nini because she was like, wow, I love this. Like, and it's a woman doing it. Amazing. So I listened, and one of my friends said, you know what? Because you like yapping a lot. And you sound.
I mean, you
very-
worked on radio for a bit, yeah?
No, well, no. I hadn't worked with radio. That's what I'm
Oh, you're
with
going to this now, yeah.
Yeah. So because you like yapping a lot, why don't you try radio? And I said, I've never done radio. Like I never studied radio. I've never studied media. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And my friend said, to be honest, you don't. You just need to sound the way you do. So just apply. The worst they can do is say no. So I applied, and I got a gig, and I was on radio with Shanice.
I remember that,
in the
yeah.
morning.
Actually, remember you interviewed me another time when I
Yeah,
came to your
and I
place.
was like, wow. And everyone, I could thank so many people who had Capital.
Yes.
Because I got that opportunity. And that opportunity got me a bit more leeway in
Visibility,
terms of,
yeah.
the people that I'm meeting and stuff like that.
Correct.
And once I was ready now to just charge, I did. And then I left radio and that was it.
So now full-time, you're doing
Yeah,
this thing.
full time. Man, it was a lot of fun. Because it's the one thing that I can talk about for hours.
So let me get this straight. So at this point in time, this is now a full-time gig, right?
Yes.
And I want to kind of get into the texture of it. I want to understand, from that point onwards,
Right.
what are you seeing? What are you hearing? Because I know historically, a lot of the therapists and people who are discussing sexuality have been women. You're probably the first guy I know of
Right.
who sort of has gone deep into this subject matter
Right.
and again, into the detail of it and stuff. But at that point, what are you starting to discover and see around, let's call it the Kenyan scene? What are you learning? What are you seeing that is sort of endemic or unique to our African stroke Kenyan market at that point?
I think maybe because of our background and maybe people who colonized us and the fact that I think as Kenyans, we took on the westernized life much earlier and faster and welcomed it more than many parts of Africa. As a sex therapist, I can say it's Kenya and not maybe, South Africa and maybe Botswana, where I could do this job. In most other African countries, I wouldn't
It's
survive.
taboo,
Yes.
would you
No,
say?
it just I would have no clients. And
Literally.
if I did, it would be some underground project like I'm trying to move cocaine.
People
or
are not as
something.
open.
No. Yet I do have clients from these countries, but they're the more liberal.
And probably on a more discreet one-on-one basis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're able to fly to Nairobi and experience the sessions and then fly back home and pretend they didn't or implement it in their little cocoons. So one thing I noticed about Kenya is the Kenya I grew up in, the Kenya I sold to the English and people that I met everywhere else is not the same Kenya I came back to. We lost our morality. Now people will find it strange that it's coming from me, but I talk about sexuality because I'm good at it. But I'm not blind to see the fabric that people look at as a society. I'm not blind to it. I know the fabric I lived in and the fabric that I found. Today, morals in Kenya are gone, which makes my business much easier. Do you see what I'm saying? We hide behind religion. All the 95%, 98% of my clients are women. They all come from a religious background. But the things they do in their sexuality allows them to be able to be taught by me.
Wow.
The sexuality they want to advance has got nothing to do with their religion. If anything, their religion does not allow them to do certain things that they would like to do.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? Religion as it is does not care about a woman's orgasms. It cares about the man because his produces life.
Wow.
So it's got nothing to do with the excitement between two people.
Okay.
You and I just seem to get excited because we have a biological default setting that when we get there, we have this ooh moment. But beyond that, religion doesn't care. Hence why religion wants that ability to be able to produce a congregation that they can follow. So that when you and I are no longer there, we then have another set of humans who then reproduce. So we're almost like we're in a farm. You and I are being cultivated to farm other
Yeah.
human beings.
Whoa.
That's the primitive side of society. They don't care how things are happening in your bedroom. They just care that your semen is viable to create life. That's it.
Some would say what you're saying is really like heretic stuff,
No. You see, and you mentioned other therapists. My only issue with other therapists is this. I love the fact that they're trying to help. My only issue with other therapists is they're trying to help using politically correct teachings. The audience, your client, is already politically correct. The reason they're coming to you is so that you can open the window and show them that's what's beyond. That's what you could do. And I'm saying this because they end up being my clients.
Wow.
My advantage, and I use it as an advantage, is I'm almost the last guy people come to, not the first guy.
When they've sort of exhausted all the options.
Because they're coming from a religious perspective, so they'll go to a therapist who is religious first. They'll go to a counselor who comes from a religious background. because I know that's going to fail them, the next option is Matheka. And I love that. And I love that is because I get that from my clients. They're the ones telling me, Matheka, you are not my first option, but you should have been. Because what I've learned from you has actually helped. Whereas I've been to 3 other people and all we did was pray. And I'd been praying before that. So I don't know how it was going to help. I was told, you know what? My issue is mental. So if I just go home and visualize a mental status that's positive, when I wake up tomorrow, my problem will be resolved. I actually did it. It has not in the last 2 years. That's why I'm here talking to
Wow.
you.
So let's go back to again who comes to you, because I think this is kind of critical. Like what is the sort of persona or the kind of person who's coming to you? What state are they in? And maybe we can look at it both from the male perspective
Okay.
and the female perspective, because I really want to get into sort of the relationship piece, maybe the psychology piece, but also at the same time understanding how that feeds back into the sexuality side.
Okay.
Yeah.
The person who comes to me, majority being women, is somebody who's just trying to rediscover themselves. If anything, majority of my clients come to me because the first thing is they want to be selfish enough to just say, can I figure myself out? If I can't figure myself out, how will my partner figure me out?
It's almost like permission to allow themselves to see
Exactly
what's beyond the veil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm known as that controversial person who is just known for sexuality, there's so much psychology that I'll deal with. Because sometimes a client will come with what they perceived was a sexual thing. And after profiling them, I realized that before we get to that
Level,
sector,
yeah.
we then just need to deal with your psychology. And your psychology is ABCD, and that needs to change. You've been using the same formula, but wanting different results. Now we have to change the formula. If we don't change the formula, and you see all of them, this luggage, this hesitancy, the struggle comes from their teachings.
And what their mental model has been of how this stuff works.
Yes, and most of it is driven by religion.
Wow.
Do you
So
see?
it's the framing through religion that sometimes creates the challenges and problems.
I mean, if you meet somebody and you have to tell them your main issue is you've been reliant on your partner to induce these things, when really what needs unlocking is your body.
Wow.
When your body is unlocked, your partner will actually say, wow, you taste different. But your partner would never know this because they already have an unlocked body, but they don't know how to unlock you.
Wow.
And then when we go to love is supposed to unlock all these things. Love is the magic key. It's a magic wand. It's not. It's
That's
a
what we've been
concoction
told.
of cocktails in our brain. That's why it's so erratic. It's one of the most delusional emotions we have. The most perfect one that every couple should have is friendship, one. Because friendship can last for long.
It transcends the physicality.
Exactly.
Yes.
If you and I are friends, or if you and a female are friends, you can get annoyed at one another, call each other names, but in a few days, you'll have a cup of coffee, say sorry, and say, this is human. But look at couples who say, I've never loved anyone more than I love you. They block you off. They block you on the phone. They manipulate you with silence. How can you do that to somebody you say you love? That's why I find love very useless sometimes. Friendship is powerful because a friend of mine called me to say, I'm sorry. And I say I'm sorry, but I also say I realized I was in the wrong. So when I was fighting you, I was wrong. How often do couples get there?
Chances are by the time they're sort of in the worst places, I mean, there's no conversation at all. There's not going to be any kind of conversation. They're already so far gone.
So why is there so much rivalry between two people who say we are ride or die? Our love is more powerful than anyone else's love. Why is it that these two people can go for 6 weeks, 8 weeks without talking? I'm dealing with such clients right now. I'm dealing with a client who tells me we've been sleeping in the same bed. We haven't spoken for 3 months.
What?
We just pitana in the house like there's traffic lights. We haven't spoken.
Wow.
And guess what's driving that? Attitude. If she's not talking to me, if he's not talking to me, so someone has to break. Are those two friends? No. They're coexisting because their foundation was probably weak. Sometimes I have to take somebody back to when you met. What was your first perception of what things could be with this person? And I've met so many people who are in marriage who will say, to be honest, when we met, I knew this was going to be short term.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And because of circumstances, they ended up hitching.
Yes. And circumstances as simple as this. Moses, as my friend, we go to Diani just to chill as boys, have a drink and everything. Then when I'm in Diani, one thing leads to another. I meet a female and we end up spending a few days together, a few nights together. And in my head, I'm thinking, I want to see her. But in her head, she's thinking, this is just going to be these 3 nights. And Maurice probably doesn't know this, but I can't have a future with him. We met in Diani. It's a thrill. It's a short romance. Stuff happens. But I'm persistent. Even if she doesn't give me her number, I remember her name or her surname. So I look for her. I persist. We're back in Nairobi. Can I take you for lunch? No. Can I take you for dinner? One day she just says, you know what?
She relents.
Yeah, she's like,
Whatever.
He seems to be the only guy who's so passionate. I'm still not into him the way he thinks, but let's go for dinner. Let's see what this guy has to say. Dinner, I bring in my A game.
So this is showtime.
Yes.
What do they call it?
I have nothing to lose, but I don't want to lose.
This is the peacocking. Yeah, you're showing the best of you.
Yes, I am showing her that those 3-4 nights we spend in Diani, I haven't thought about anything else but you.
Wow.
And my visual, because I'm a grown-ass man, I know how to give the look. And I know this from experience. So I know what I'm selling. Whether I can sustain it or not, who knows? But the minute she's hook, line, and center and she says, you know what? I never saw this happening, but wow. Like,
why not?
No man has paid me attention the way you. And I can see you're genuine and you're true and your stuff. And now, fast forward, we're married, we've got kids. She goes to Matheka and tells Matheka, the reason why I've never been able to love Maurice is I should have listened to my instincts. Maurice was a 3-4 night guy.
And now here we are.
He ended up being my husband.
Wow.
Because he took me for some nice things and bought me nice things and said all the nice words. And I just fell for them. But guess what? It's never been removed from my brain. The fact that I'd already stamped that he's a temporary guy. I now have I have a temporary guy in my head, but I have him as a husband.
Oh my God. And this is where sometimes the fooling around starts.
At some point, yes. But that's not even why I'm seeing her. I'm not seeing her because she's fooled around. I'm seeing her is because she's suddenly now hit that age where she can no longer lie to herself.
Where things are, really.
Yes. She looks at me and says, you know what? I have known you for years. I think you're a really nice guy. You're probably a good husband and a good father. But that's it. I'm not attracted to you. That's why when you hold me, I cringe sometimes, but I have to show I'm not cringing. I care about you because I've known you for so long. And I can see how you care about me.
Wow.
But if I had the choice, you wouldn't be it.
Huh. Do couples actually get to the point through sessions you have to that point of realization?
Yes.
And what happens next?
I've had women tell their husbands, I love you. I will love you forever, but I can't give you what you want. I can't be that naughty person. I can with somebody else, but I can't with you.
Whoa.
I can't.
So what happens then?
I've never seen myself sexy in a bikini or in lingerie with you.
Wow.
I've never seen you as a stud. You are a stud.
So what happens then? Where does this go?
Okay, you see, Moses, the one thing that people fail to understand is, and that's probably why I'm controversial, which is unfortunate because the controversial ones should be the ones who are not willing to tell the truth. Therapy is not about super gluing something. It's about profiling where you've come from and where you're going, and if the two of you are moving in the right direction or in the same direction. Is there a possibility of moving forward? And sometimes it's not me. It's not for me to say, Moses, you have to love your wife. Moses' wife, you have to love Moses. No. It's for me to show you what you're really about and for you to be able to look at your partner and tell them, I don't see this working. It hasn't worked for the last 8 years.
Wow. Now, this is interesting because I think we've heard the woman's perspective.
Yes.
I'm also keen to hear where we are with men because I think you and I earlier had a conversation around
Yeah.
some of the wearing trends we're seeing around men. And more importantly, I think it's a reflection, like you said, around our moralities and other issues. But what's happening on the men's side? I think this is something that we know we definitely need to get into.
The most unfortunate thing that's happening around the world right now is the biggest killer of men is suicide.
And why
Men
is
are
that?
struggling to exist in this world. One, because we've been stripped of our manliness. And I think you purported to it is we are simps. We are not the versions of our fathers or our grandfathers. We're just not.
We're being politically correct.
If those niggas woke up, they'd probably want to die again. We've been stripped of any masculinity. Masculinity today is you smell right, you look right, you wear the good clothes, nice shoes, and you can afford to go to all the nice restaurants and holidays and drive a nice car and live in the right postcode. That's what being a man is. But dare you like rugby, dare you like doing masculine things, you're toxic. And the dynamic of dating has also changed.
It's become what has happened to dating.
Dating has become a transaction. The number of men who are telling me, I have literally been vulnerable with this woman. I've literally shown her my good sides. But she's just treating me like I'm a simp. I'm taking her out to all the best restaurants, but I'm having to drop her where she says I'm dropping her at her mum's or her dad's or her uncle's. But later to find out I actually dropped her at a guy's place, and that guy has never bought her a dinner. He's never addressed her the way I do. He's never been vulnerable with her. So clearly the bad boy image still exists. It existed when we were young, but the difference is when we're young, all the music we listened to and the messaging was understood by both the male and female. If I took somebody out for dinner, you'd literally see her appreciate, wow. And I'm not taking her for dinner because I want her to affirm.
It's a gesture of romance.
It's a gesture of, I'm loving this too. I'm not doing you a favor. But today, people have the audacity of being taken through school, university. I get you a job, I get you this. And then at the end of the day, you're like, but Maurice, I didn't ask you to love me. I didn't ask you to invest in me for 12 years.
Did I see this the other day with, is it Kaká, the footballer? Where his wife divorced him because she said he was too nice.
But you see, that story in my field
Yes.
is an every month story.
Elaborate.
I get men telling me that story all the time. Men are being left for being too nice. Men are being left because he's smothering, he's too nice, he's too sweet, he's too predictable, because instead of spending time with these boys like other men do and giving me a bit of a headache and I'm wondering why he's coming home at 4, this guy leaves home at 7 and by 9:30, the sweetness is him has come back home. So I'm thinking, am I living with a man or a poodle?
What?
Yeah.
Is this what the women are saying?
Yes.
They are frustrated by a guy not being bad enough.
Yes.
So what's your advice?
What are you talking about, Moses? I have had women who said, I married my husband because I knew he'd be loyal. Because I've been with a bad boy.
Ooh.
That guy broke my heart so many times. But right now, I need you to nudge my husband, Kidogo, and tell him, just bring out 40% of your badness. The sweetness of yours is drowning me. I don't need you to tell me you love me every day. I need you to cause me to miss you, to want you, to crave you, to hate you because you're not paying me attention. I need some instability. I need you to tell me you're going to the local, but you end up in Nakuru. I don't know how. I need to hate you.
Women are telling you this?
Yes. And Moses, as a man, I'm just thinking, everything I thought a man is supposed to be is not it. It's just not it. It's not. It mutates so fast. Moses, you can be the most decent. You know what decent looks like, and appropriate and faithful and loyal and loving. And you are basically labeled as a simp, weak, and pathetic. Fact.
So what's the turnaround here? Because if I'm hearing you correctly, right?
Yes.
This is a common conversation you're having
Yes.
with men. Women are also reaffirming that there's an issue here.
Correct.
Guys need to be less good, a little bit raw, a little
Yes.
bit bad boy.
Yes.
And I think historically we've always known about the bad boy. He's always is the one that the woman will never marry. Same with the man who will never marry the party girl.
Yes.
But they love the good time.
Yes.
So what's the fix here?
Yeah, but you see, what I've seen happen is I've seen the good guy turn into the bad guy.
Ooh.
And the worst thing is, a good guy, when he turns into the bad guy, he eats all the other bad guys for breakfast.
Get out of here.
The original bad guy will never be as bad as a good guy.
Get out of here.
You see, the good guy knows all the tricks of a bad guy. All the
Uh-huh.
tricks. It's just he never used them.
Because he chose to be straight.
Okay, let me give myself as an example.
Yeah.
There's no field I cannot. I can eat bad guys for breakfast because I know all the lines that they come up with. I know how to engage them. I know how to give them erectile dysfunction.
What?
But on the other hand, I have a sweet model, Maurice, who wants to take a woman out for dinner and just concentrate on her.
And buy
And
roses.
I'm clocking on my left that there's a woman trying to get my attention, but I'm like, I'm not here for you because I've seen that happen in a restaurant. There's a guy giving her flowers and everything and blah, blah, and she's just engaging me like, hey, what's up? And I think, hold on, can't you see I'm with my woman?
What?
So if I wanted to be the bad guy,
You could.
I'd be the baddest of baddest. I'd be telling bad guys, I know you're a bad guy, but you'll never beat me because I'll shred you to pieces. But that's not my energy. It's not my natural energy. My natural energy is from the Jodeci's and the Boys to Men's that we used to listen to, and the Shy and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'll buy
I'm
you
still
dinner
a-
too.
Exactly. I'm still a Barry White kind of guy.
Yes.
But the question is this: how many women understand what Barry White's message is in today's world? Not that many.
That frame is gone.
That frame is gone. That's why we're having to do all this money crap. And that only lasts so long.
So when we break it down, like, what's the way forward, Maurice? In this, I mean, look, I'm probably asking you probably the hardest question here because, okay, it's bad. We've heard the woman's side, we've heard the man's side. Relationships have to work or at least find a way forward. When you look at it, what happens next? Where does this go for both the man and the woman?
I have nothing positive, to be honest, to tell you.
Okay.
Because marriages are not going to get any better.
Wow.
They're going to get worse.
Literally.
Yes. Reason being, we're now in a world where it's not about a small periphery. We have too much choice. We have too much choice. You could be spending 2 million Kenya shillings a month to facilitate for your family and your woman. There's another guy who will drop 5 million. He'll disable your relationship.
Because of his resources.
Yes. She's even fighting very hard, but she's thinking, I have to think of my kids.
Wow.
I'm in a position where a woman will call me up and ask me, there's a deal that I need to make, and it's abroad. And the guy who needs to sign it has told me that you need to find a way to be away from home for 2 weeks. But when you get home, you're going to have a $250,000 contract.
And the principle here is that they're going to do something, give
For
me
2
something
weeks.
for something.
Yes. And by the way, her husband has been looped into this deal. The husband's waiting for her to come home with this deal,
But not knowing there's this other...
not knowing what needs to happen for the deal to be.
Get out of
stamped.
here.
She's not asking for my permission. She's just asking, what do I think?
Wow.
And to be honest, Moses, I don't use emotions when I'm answering people. I have to ask her, for you to be asking me this question, you're looking for some kind of validation because you've already made the choice. You're going for $250,000.
Just a rubber stamp now.
So you just wanted to hear my opinion because I'm not going to judge you.
Wow. So it doesn't get better, it gets worse.
And to be honest, the logical things are, I'm sure you've done worse for free. You've done worse because
For fun.
you took 2 bottles of wine instead of 1 glass. And you got home and you had to tidy yourself up before you joined your husband in the bedroom
Whoa.
over glasses of wine.
Which is much less.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing $250,000 slipping. So if that's what you wanted to hear,
This is the stuff you're picking up.
yes.
What about the guys? What's happening on the guys' side from that same perspective? What's the way forward?
I've saved a lot of men from spending money they didn't have to spend.
Uh-huh.
When you hear a man say, there's a woman I was dating. I'm married, but there's a woman I was dating. We're no longer dating. But before we broke off, there are promises I made. Will I be less of a man if I don't avail the promises?
Like what, buy her something?
Buy a car.
But they broke up.
No. Moses, that's the one thing that we always forget about men. We're more honest than people think. Our ego is always at stake. This guy is saying, yes, I know I broke up with her. She's probably sorting out another dude. But this is not about her or him. It's about me. Will I look small if I do not present what I promised? And I'm asking the guy, what does this look like money-wise? I gave her a certain amount, but right now I owe her like $30,000. There's something she needs to do with it. Dude, you want to give $30,000 to a woman who's probably not thinking about you. It's not about her, boss. It's about me. It's about my ego. I promised it, so if I don't do it, and I think, hold on. Now that we're talking, don't you think your kids or your wife could do better with our $30,000? If you have a woman who can basically create, what do you think she'll do with $30,000? Can't you put that on a trust for your kids?
People are having such issues.
Because what's going to happen is you're going to send her $30,000, and then one day when she's out with her girls, she's going to say, "Oh yeah, by the way, that simp sent me $30,000." Who does that? Yet, if you look at the text she's been sending him, you're not a man. You promised. You need to deliver. What kind of a man are you? If it was my ex, you'd have sent.
Oh, so the ego gets played. Eh?
Yeah, you see, Moses, the things I see out there, it can demoralize you as a man. But you got to keep it together.
There's something else I'm picking up here.
Yes.
And there's something I came across online recently. You know, there's this, it sounds like there's an element of manipulation in relationships.
Yes, there is.
What is that you see as well on the ground? You're thinking
men
hard.
have a physical, no, I'm trying to see how men have a physical attribute of, I can punch.
Yes.
I can shout. I can be aggressive. But you will never overpower a woman's voice. A woman can dent your ego more than any man can. A man can punch you, you'll get up. You probably have a black eye, but it will heal. But there's something a woman can utter that crushes you for a very long time. Hence why men are dying at the rate they are, via suicide. She can crush you. And that's why, Moses, you find you can take away my money, you can take away property, but the minute you take away my manhood, and I've seen this with a lot of guys who have money, the guy's telling you that I just want to kill myself.
Wow.
I'm thinking, dude, the resources you have, you can have anyone. He's saying, no, that's right now I'm dealing with, I was told I'm the most useless man ever. I was even told that bedroom game that she kept telling me that I have, there's some other few niggas who are better. Do you know what this guy's been told? You're worthless. This guy has moolah. This guy can just decide, you know what? I'll show you I'm not worthless. I'm going to gallivant around all the big cities and take selfies with the most beautiful women in the world. But that's not even what he's engaging with. He's engaging with, what river can I throw myself in?
to
What
die.
bridge can I just go and showcase that I'm hurting so that she can see I'm hurting?
Wow.
But she's going to come to your funeral with another guy because I've seen that. Because I've witnessed that.
Oh my
I've
God.
witnessed a guy die. We go to his funeral and she's crying on another man's arms. He's come to soothe her. And later on, she's going to be sharing the same bedroom with that guy. You're 6 feet under and you took yourself because of her. She came with another guy to soothe her. She didn't come alone. And after that, they're going to have drinks after laying you on the ground. That's the world we're living in.
I don't want to paint a bleak picture because the things you're saying, I think for many people watching or listening to this are probably having moments of shock the way I am. But I'm asking myself, is there silver lining to this? And this is where I think your years of experience and what you've learned on the ground from what
Right.
is versus what isn't.
Yeah.
You know, what are the sort of steps or what advice do you give people in general in these circumstances? You know, so that whether it's a woman, whether it's a man, the relationship, the sex issues, what are the things that, you know, almost like a cheat sheet you could give them that they could take away from this conversation?
One, now that you're sharing the information with me, have you shared it at the same length with your partner? Is your partner aware of your struggles?
Are they even talking? But sometimes that conversation seems like it can't even happen.
Yes, but it can happen if I ask whether they'd like a mediation.
Oh,
If they agree to that, then we start our sessions.
so you act as the moderator of that conversation.
Exactly. And from that, I'll be able to profile who they are, where they've come from, where they're going. But you see, as much as would love there to be a silver lining where there's a model where things just work out, you've got to look at it this way. Almost 70% of humans who are together are mismatched.
It's just the science of it.
Yes. One of them has psychologically checked out of this relationship a long time ago. They're in it because I can't look like I failed. I can't look like I'm giving up.
Societal pressures.
Separation is not an option. In my head, it is. Societally, it's not. I look like I gave up. So I'm just going to string
Just
along.
keep ticking the boxes.
Yes. I'll have my thrills and come back. It's like going to an ice cream parlor, yet ice cream in your house is banned because you've got some dietary thing going on. Have your ice cream and then clean off your face, come back home and pretend you didn't have ice cream. That's how we're having our thrills.
Oh,
So it's not there must be a solution where at least 70% of couples who had a problem are now in bliss. It's never going to work that way. Because if you look at their foundations were very weak. We all want a companion because we hate being alone. Let's stop there.
loneliness is a big issue.
We
Huh?
all want a companion because Maurice is not considered a man. Actually, the men will not do business with me because I do not have a family or do not have a responsibility. Dude, you have nothing to lose. So how can I do business with you? You can gallivant with my money
So
in
it's
Australia.
fitting the role, fitting the...
Exactly. But now when you're fitting the role, because I have a PhD and she's also learned, she has a PhD,
Yeah.
our PhDs are not going to make our relationship work.
So basically come to the table, have this conversation, be honest with each other,
Yes.
and see if there's a way forward.
But now the problem is, if you look at the Kenyan setting, I know there are many countries, but look at Kenya. Kenyans, we love sugarcoating.
Even in that conversation.
We love lying to each other. Lies in Kenya thrive. We're the biggest liars. Have you noticed Kenyans are everything? Kenyans are podcasters. Kenyans are lawyers. Kenyans are pilots. Every Kenyan has an opinion about everything. Your field, there's a guy who'll be like, I know you've been in IT for so long, but you know what? My opinion is also valid. He has an opinion as small as an ant
And
versus your years of wisdom and knowledge. Suddenly there's somebody who's read a book for half an hour. He's now equivalent to your knowledge. How does that work?
It doesn't work.
But those are the relationships we have. Everybody's a therapist. Everybody's a sexologist. And no one is willing to say, I don't think I love you today. the way I did 10 years ago. Oh, no, 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 no. That is rude. How can you say that to a human being? But guess what? In the West, that's why things are working, because you tell somebody the truth. There's something I didn't like years ago. I probably like it today, and vice versa. Humans need to learn that people fall in love and fall out of love. You're allowed to fall out of love. You're even allowed to say, I don't want this relationship to end, but I don't feel you the way I used to. And these are the things that remind us for me not to feel you. When a man says, when I get into the house, only one child recognizes me, that's why I end up coming home at 10 p.m. I don't like being in the bar from 6:30 to 10 p.m. But at the bar, George goes, hey, Maurice, I've won. Moses, hey, I've won. Hey, dude, you're looking good, man. Hey, Jim is doing you.
He's getting validation.
Wow, this is amazing. This is the family. I don't know who the hell those are in my house, because only one child validates me. And when my wife validates me, the first question is, did you pay the bill?
Whoa.
Wow. No honey, no babe, no, hey, you're looking cool. You're looking handsome, even if I'm not. Because I do that to her. When she wakes up in the morning, I'm like, man, you look so beautiful. Yeah, she's thinking, no, I'm all wrinkled and I don't have makeup on. I'm not doing it because it's a job. I'm doing it because the minute I committed to you as a woman, I feel amazing when I can tell you, you look beautiful in the morning. And guess what? I'm not blagging you. You literally look beautiful. Do you see what I'm saying? Those markings on the side of your body that you call cellulite, I don't see them. If anything, I love holding them and massaging you and telling you, this means nothing to me. What means is the entire package. And you look amazing. You know, I even remind her, there are men when you wear your office suits that look at you, and I love that. I love the attention you get. But do I get validation?
I see what you mean. That disparity is a big issue, huh?
Yes. And once a man doesn't get that, he'll start to crave it somewhere else. There's literally millions of men who just go to a bar to be innocent, to have their drink and drown their sorrows in that drink. But this amazing woman comes over and says, hey, cute man, can I buy you a drink?
And I'm guessing this goes the other way as well, right?
Yes.
So women also having those moments.
Exactly. And she's at that bar because she doesn't want to go home. Because at home, she's not validated. And then now we start sharing stories. I'm sad at home, so am I. If this continues for a while, we'll start thinking we're soulmates. We're not. We just share an issue.
A common problem.
Yes. And that's why we can be soulmates. And the minute we make this intimate, I'm able to tell you things I was never able to tell my partner in the last 20 years. I've never told her how I really like this done, but I'm telling you like that.
Because you have the common ground.
Yes. And she does the same to me. So I'm just thinking, why didn't I meet you 18 years ago? But guess what? Because we're in a different dynamic, this works. That's why I always tell women, for example, when it's the other woman, when she comes and says, Maurice, I want to be validated as a second wife. I always tell her this. Your dynamic is only sweet because you're the side chick. The minute you move into being a wife, which he already has, you and her will start sharing beddings. And because they don't listen to me, they force the man to validate them. Months or years later, the same youngling, because he said, I'm young and beautiful. Yes, but guess what? Young and beautiful is being born every single day. So I've had those who have transitioned to being the second wife, which means now she's in the loop of things.
She's mama so-and-so.
But then she calls me to tell me I and the first wife, who we never used to talk, now are buddies. Do you know why we're buddies? We're fighting this third person who has come. I wonder that she'd be replaced.
Yeah.
Because the dynamic only works because a thrill cannot be attached to marriage.
Wow.
It can't.
So we come back to the thing. So there's this thing of the honest conversation, discuss it. But you said there's also embellishment. People don't honestly speak their minds.
No, they don't.
Because the framework is not right.
Yes.
What are the other things that people could take away from this conversation?
It's about time you sat down and just looked within, and you need to ask yourself, have I been the patient or the therapist? Because many people are the therapists of their partner. You're the
Oh.
super glue of that relationship.
Whoa.
You're the one who said, you know what? Even though sometimes I look at my partner and they can't see that I've got buildup of tears in my eyes, I chose to be your therapist.
So they're kind of
I've
already
become a fixer.
mentoring or...
Yes. I've noticed that maybe from a prior relationship, somebody broke you. I'll never fix you, but whenever you crumble, I put you back together. And I'll do this until the day I die.
Wow.
And that's why sometimes, especially if the man, at some point, his way out is to commit suicide.
Oh.
He says, I've been a therapist for so long, and I thought this would only take 3 years. It's been 15. I'm done.
Wow.
He can't even see himself in another relationship because he'll think, what are the odds of me being somebody else's therapist?
Wow.
I don't think humans are worth my time, so I'm out. And he leaves a letter, a long letter,
Wow.
actually telling her where this all started.
Wow.
My sense of one day I'll kill myself started 15 years ago. Now is when I've decided enough is enough.
That's deep.
It's like having a doctor say, there's so many lives I wish I saved, but I never saved them.
Is there anything else you think is critical?
Why are we together? Why do we need marriage? And if we're in a marriage, what are the fun elements that we can share? Because one of the things that I know humans love is fun. Right now, who are the biggest drivers of divorce? Women.
How so?
And it's mainly because of finances, nothing else. It's not about infidelity. Women are the ones filing divorce. But in the same breath, I have so many women telling me that I wish I hadn't listened to my friends.
Oh. Thereafter.
Yes. My friends told me to leave him.
And that was
can
not
get
really the
better.
issue.
These streets.
But it's coming from an economic perspective.
Yes, you can do better. You belong in that postcode where he keeps saying he can't afford. Why can't he afford? But the question is, Moses, all men are not going to be equal. Not every man is going to move from point A to B just because he wants to. There are men who have tried for a very long time. Again, it goes back to the suicide. So we have to look at why is it we don't have those stories of we lived in an SQ and we ended up in this postcode in a mansion. We don't have those stories. Today is, wait, you've been living here for 2 years. How come he's not moved you to that area?
Ooh.
See, come to the golf club. I'll introduce you to a guy who can probably upgrade you to where you need to be. So leave this bugger. This guy of upgrade, the only thing he wants to upgrade is his vibe and his money. And it'll be the short haul. And then one day he'll tell you, hey, your expiry is done. Oh, sorry, you left your husband. Oh, I should have told you not to. Now she's going back to the husband to tell him, I was wrong. I loved this life. It was not where I wanted to be, but I've realized even where I wanted to be, I won't be happy. Because that guy threw me out like a cat. Can you take me back? By then, the husband is like, I'm
done,
man.
Yeah.
You told me I'm not worthy. So go back to your worthy person who threw you out.
I feel like you need to say something for the guys.
Stop trying too hard. Stop trying too hard. I don't want you to give up, but stop trying too hard. And sometimes your instincts are telling you that she's not worth your time. Your instincts
you're not
are telling
listening
you,
to
you're
it.
not listening to yourself. Your instincts are telling you. You see, and that's the thing. Men are not liars. They're born in an environment where they have to lie because the lies sell better than the truth. Men are givers, but sometimes we overgive. Yet the narrative is men don't give. Men are selfish. Actually, the men who are being called selfish are the ones the light bulb has come on. They've realized this is bollocks. It's not worth the effort, to be honest.
That's often later in life, right?
Sorry?
That's often later in life. Huh?
Yes, but
When they've sussed it out, yeah?
exactly. But one thing that I've learned that that is not in my control is when I talk to young men, they think
What's
I'm
this guy talking
through,
about?
Yeah, I'm talking through my nose. Like, dude, first and foremost, your generation and my generation are two different generations. He only gets to learn when he's a bit older that I should have listened to that guy. I was talking to a young guy the other day. He's like 22. He's got a job in Dubai and he's going to be there for 6 years. And I asked him, so what are your plans? He said, I was told by some friends of mine who are a bit older that after 2 years, I need to come back to Kenya, impregnate 2 women, and then go back to Dubai. Because being a man is about knowing that you've sown a seed in Kenya. I told the guy, hold on. You're going to do what? Young man, this is what's going to happen. You're going to Dubai. You've told me that you're going to be paid in dollars. You've already told me what your transition and what you could be paid 3-4 years from now. This is what you're going to do as a young man. You're going to give up and unlearn everything you've been told about being traditional. I need you to go to Dubai, make money, and then start globe-trotting. Go to Spain, have a romantic weekend with a Spanish girl. Go to Portugal, experience Portugal. Go to Sweden, experience Sweden. Go to Indonesia, experience that. By the time you come to Kenya, you realize what these Neanderthals were telling you to do is wrong, because what they're telling you to do is, they're telling you to be a person who is just sending money to 2 women who have other men that they're sorting out. One day you'll come to what you thought was your home,
Yes.
and you'll find another guy living there. Because she's told him, no, we don't have to worry. We have Brian in Dubai who sends me money.
Wow.
I'm living the life. He even bought me a car. And all he had to do is inject a child in me. I told him, kill that story. There's already so many people who are trying to get out of that.
So they're myths, really. They're myths around what a man is meant to be.
Yeah,
and
that's
what he
not a
does.
man. Go have experiences that young men are supposed to have so that you don't have to do it later. Because what's happening now is the men who took so many years to be a husband, once that relationship does not work, now his girlfriend's 19. He's got disposable cash. So he's globetrotting now.
Later in life.
He never did this. He went from university to work to family to building a family to not being recognized as a man. Now
To full
he's-
midlife crisis.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's buying 2-seater cars. God knows who he's trying to carry.
Wow. Wow, Maurice, listen, that has been incredible. I feel like we need a part 2 of this.
We
This
do
is-
need a
yeah.
part 2.
But I'm
been
so
good.
grateful. I think there's a lot of wisdom you've dispensed. Some of it a bit shocking, but it is the state of play,
is,
the
it
state of
is.
play as we
It
know it.
is.
But thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. And more importantly, I think for the audience and the people watching this, it will give them some key insights into some of the key issues around relationships, and more importantly, how this also feeds into things like sexual relationships.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Maurice. We'd love to
Thank
have
you
you
for
back on
inviting me.
again. Yeah, and we'll
Hey,
see how it goes.
It's been real, man.
Yeah.
But we need to keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So there you have it from Maurice, one of the few male sex therapists and also a relationship therapist here in Kenya. You've heard it from him, what's really going down. But more importantly, I hope you've had some valuable insights, and we'll catch you in the next one.